Morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Odds here. Monday morning, MLK Day, and the Raptors are playing an afternoon game at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. Yes, 3 o'clock start. So be ready with your day. I know it's not a holiday here, so in some ways it's detrimental to Raptors Nation to cheering on the team. And I really like what Paul Jones said on Raptors Tonight the other day. Canada, get your act together. Make MLK Day a holiday here in our country also. This man was important all around the entire world. It doesn't just stop in U.S. borders. And, to stay in line with the U.S. with their holidays, I know we have our own holiday names, but we usually have the holidays around the same time. You maybe want to think about honoring Martin Luther King Jr. here in Canada because he did have a very important impact around the world. And I'm with Jonesy. Y'all need to give us the day off today so we can watch a Raptors game at 3 o'clock. What's up with that? What's up with that? I'm going to tell you right now, this is a trap game. They want us to lose this game. I mean, listen, it's Madison Square Garden. It's the Knicks. It's 3 o'clock. It's national television down there. There's all kinds of signs pointing to how they want us to lose this game. Trust me. Let me just bring up something that I wanted to bring up on the screen, just a box score for the G League game last night. The Raptors 905 winning in the Elam ending with the David Johnson 3. Very fun to see. I was so happy to see this game, watch this game yesterday. It was so fun. Let me just check in with Monique real quick. Good morning, everyone. Happy game day. Please show up today. Everyone's not 0%. Thoughts on CJ McCollum's podcast talks. Okay, well, listen. Fred's questionable today. I don't think Freddie's going to play today. That's our injury report, basically. Freddie is questionable and Otto is out, and there's nobody on the Knicks that's missing. So the Knicks are absolutely full strength, but Fred VanVleet is looking like he's not going to play today. Yesterday, it said this is back, and he's questionable for today. On our injury list. So there's your injury list. Fred VanVleet, questionable due to lower backness. And then Otto Porter Jr. is out. Nobody out for the Knicks. They're completely full strength. Last time we saw them, they were missing RJ Barrett. Well, they got him this time. Now, let me talk about, all right, real quick. I know I'm all over the place right now, but I'll clean it all up. CJ McCollum's comments are irresponsible and not the kind of comments that should be coming from the president of the Players Association. That I'm really disappointed in this guy. Who does he fucking think he is to just talk out of pocket in an interview about our team? I know he's saying, oh, it could be tampering if I say too much. We already said too much. And I don't know how accurate he is. Now, I will say this. Gary Trent Jr. was his teammate in Portland. So if there's anybody he's talking about, it's talking about Gary because he's the one he has a connection with. Although he said that he's had friendships with other people like Fred and stuff like that. Whatever it is, CJ, fuck you for trying to stir the pot with our team. That's irresponsible. As the president of the Players Association, you should not be stirring the pot on other NBA teams like this. That's a very bad example. And you're better than this. So just shut the fuck up, bro. Your team is good. You're doing well, but you have no reason to be talking about the Toronto Raptors and trade situations and players being unhappy and wanting to leave. You just shut the fuck up. You're really out of pocket. You're not being a good leader as president of the Players Association. I'm really disappointed in you. I have way more respect for you as a player than I do as a person at this point. And, you're a great shooter. You're a great player, but maybe not very smart and intelligent as far as just putting stuff out there. It may be very well true what you're saying. But once again, it's a bad look. You have a high position of power in the NBA, and you shouldn't be making comments like this on podcasts. It's really out of pocket and wrong. And in some ways, I'd like to see you get punished for it because I don't think it's right. You set a bad tone because you're a leadership in the players union, and you shouldn't be talking about other teams and whether they want to trade or not. So there you go. Monique's also saying that David Johnson shot reminded me of last year. But wow, just on home soil, anyone else, that game was too close for comfort. Very glad they pulled it out. We aren't tied with the Bulls after last night's Bulls win. Yeah. Monique with a lot of stuff in there. David Johnson had a game winner last season, and it was from a similar spot on the floor. Monique, you're very right and astute to notice that. That game was interesting yesterday. Honestly, that game should have been won way before David's three. Ron had a chance to ice the game with a free throw, which he missed. And then the other team had a chance Sioux Fall had a chance to like come back and win the game. The guy had to just make like two free throws had to make three free throws to win, but he ended up missing two out of the three. There was there's all kinds of crazy missed free throws with the Elam ending, and it just was kind of getting crazy and stupid. They should have won. We should have won. Then they should have won again. And it was just stupid. In some ways, the Elam ending makes people look futile. If they don't win the game with the free throws, then they look like losers. They really do look like losers. And I was disappointed in Ron for not icing the game with the two free throws that he had. He made the first one, but he missed the second one. He would have won the game right then. And he allowed Sioux Falls Skyforce to have a chance to win it at the other end of stuff. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. But let's real quick go over that game as far as 3 stars. My 3 stars are number 1 star, Ron Harper Jr., 9 of 15 from the field, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 26 points, even though he missed that free throw that could have just won the game at that time and made it dangerous. He still was the best player for the Raptors in a lot of ways. I can't pick Reggie Perry because he had 8 turnovers and he did not shoot that well. Hassani Gravett was fantastic in this game. He really was helping them late in the game in the fourth quarter to keep scoring and end the Elam ending overtime. 22 points for Hassani, 7 of 14 from the field, 2 3-pointers made, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal. Great job by Hassani Gravett. And then I'll make David Johnson the 3rd star just for hitting the big 3 at the end. 5 of 8 from the field. That was the only 3 he made all game. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 11 points, but he was a +9. Now, the interesting thing about this game was Delano did not play, and I don't understand. He had an injury or something, but he did not want to play against Justin, so he did not play yesterday. But he was at the game, and he was jumping up and down and cheering his team on pretty good. But on the other side, Justin did play. He did not start. He did not play in the crunch time at the end of the game either, but he got 25 minutes, 2 of 6 shooting, missed both 3-pointers he shot, made both free throws, 5 offensive rebounds, 7 rebounds altogether, 1 assist, 1 block, a -9 for 7 points. So Justin did not get a revenge game on us in this game. And in fact, I felt sorry for Justin. Because listen, he's on the Heat now. That's a good organization, and that's great. And I'm glad he found another spot on another team. But he's on the Sioux Falls Skyforce, and that's in South Dakota. He's playing in the middle of nowhere now. He's not in sunny Miami, and playing for Mississauga is a much better place to be playing. And apparently, the Skyforce are going to be playing a homestand, so he ain't going nowhere. He's going to be sitting in South Dakota for a few weeks now, because they have a home schedule that's like very heavy with home games. So yeah, I felt bad for him. It looked like him on the other team. He's not really, he's very new. This was his 2nd game with this team, and he hasn't bonded with his teammates like he had with the 905. And that had to be really weird and surreal to play against the team you just played on for a year and a half. And now, you're playing against them with a bunch of strangers that you barely know, and you lost. Yeah, I felt bad for Justin after the game yesterday. I could tell it's just a sad situation in some ways, but it's the business. This is what the NBA is all about. And at least he had a really good showing with the offensive rebounds. At one point, wow, he was grabbing every single offensive rebound in the beginning of the game in the first half. But I feel sad for Justin, but it's the business. That's what it is. And it was weird that Delano is not showing up and playing. Now, I've thought about why he's not on the G League All-Star ballot, Delano Banton. And it's really probably because he hasn't played enough G League games. He didn't play hardly at all in the first part of the season. And so he's only played like maybe 4 games. So he may not be hitting the minimum threshold to be on the G League ballot. In some ways, he probably doesn't want to be on the G League All-Star team. I don't know. That's a weird thing. It's kind of like, do I want to be on the G League All-Star team? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what else you guys are saying this morning. Tom Duke is saying, good morning. CJ is just like the rest of the fans and media. He is transitioning to post-playing days with his podcast. Yeah, I don't agree with this. I also think Draymond Green's podcast is stupid in some ways too. Now, I don't know. I don't know what the lines should be as far as like players' podcasts and talking out of pocket just about different things. But like I said, he is an extra special case because he's the president of the Players Association, and this is not a good role model. This is not a good leadership to show that kind of stuff going on. Because seriously, people shouldn't be talking about other people's teams. That he is a Pelican. He's under contract. He currently plays in the NBA, and he shouldn't be talking about the Raptors and their roster and players being disgruntled and wanting to be traded or wanting to leave on the down low. That's none of his business. And he shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Are we saying stuff like that about the Pelicans? No. Oh, we know Jonas. We could be talking about Jonas and saying all this crap too. So I just don't appreciate it coming from him because he's leadership in the NBA and he should know better. He really should know better. Raymond Jacobs saying CJ McCollum always reminds me of Steve Urkel lookalike. Did I do that? Yeah, I mean, I guess a little bit. It's like he looks like if he grew up, like he could have grew into becoming CJ McConnell. Column. Yeah, I guess that looks good. Got it. Got any cheese? Ooh. Excuse me. Guardian Transit saying, cannot believe everything you hear. If there is an issue, Raptors management will deal with it. They're not allowed turmoil to fester. Yeah, I don't even know if this is true. I mean, it could be on the down low. Maybe Gary's telling him he's frustrated with his situation here, but we all know Gary's on the trade market right now. It's not like he's saying anything juicy. He may be completely just talking about Gary, and it would be obvious that Gary's having a tumultuous year and he's not totally happy with how things are going right now with the team and like his position with being trade bait in some ways. I mean, that would make the most sense that he's talking about Gary Trent Jr. just because they played together in Portland. But also, you're right, Guardian Transit. Just because he's in the know doesn't mean he really does know. Because in the last couple of days, Nick Nurse and different people have reiterated that this team is not falling apart as far as internally. They are very much together, all for one for all, and trying their damnedest to win. And in fact, today they need to win because we need to make a statement. New York's been on a win streak once again, and they won yesterday against Detroit in Detroit, and they're coming back. It was an afternoon game, but they're playing a back-to-back. Once again, we're playing a team on a back-to-back. Come on, Raptors. Show something. Be the team that looks like the more energetic team because you didn't play yesterday. Because the Knicks played yesterday, and they played in Detroit and traveled back to New York. So hopefully we can make an advantage of playing a team on the second night of a back-to-back. Maybe, Nick. Come on. Oh, did I do that? I don't know. Seriously, it's crazy. Like, why can't we win against a team who played the day before when we have rest? Why? Sugar Ray saying, good morning. Are you ready to trade Freddie yet? No, I'm not ready to trade Freddie yet. I won't trade Fred because I stand by Fred. I don't even care if he's hurt and stuff like that. He's not going to play today, first of all. And the reason why is because he's hurt. And he knows if he plays hurt, he's going to hurt us. So in some ways, he's sacrificing. We want him to be 100% healthy. And Sugar Ray, why the fuck will we trade him right before he's about to have his third child and go off like crazy? Once that child is born, you know that's going to happen, Sugar Ray. So don't even get it twisted. Fred VanVleet is going to have his third baby anytime in the next month or so. And when that happened last time, boo, we won a championship. So yeah, I am not trading him before this kid comes because I want to see him tear up this league again and feel good because he's a dad for the third time. You know that's coming. You know that this is the pattern. Come on, you pay attention, right? He played horrible when Fred VanVleet Jr. was on his way out and when he was coming. And right before he came, he was a terrible shooter. And this is just the same damn shit. Shontai is pregnant right now. She is so close to having that baby. And once that baby comes, he's going to start bombing everything. So you go ahead and trade him before that baby comes and not get any of the good stuff from afterwards and just deal with all the shitty stuff before. Because you know that's what's been happening this whole year on the down low. His wife is pregnant and he's stressed out. And then you add in the back injuries, the problems. Boom, you have a perfect storm of different things around him that are causing him to have a hard time. His role change, different things are going on. So no, I ain't trading Fred before he gets that baby bump. Bam! That baby bump goes away in Shontai, and that baby bump goes into Fred's game, and it bumps his stats up. Watch. Bam! There you go. Tom Duke saying, I am no longer mad at all when people say anything. Tom is tough. Tom is strong. Tom is hardened by a losing season by the Raptors, and he doesn't even care anymore. You going to talk shit? Well, go ahead and talk shit. That's your opinion. You go ahead and have opinion. That's fine. Monique is saying everyone wants to see Reggie Perry on an NBA team, but where would you put him if you were a GM? I don't know. Monique, I really don't pay attention to the other 30 teams. I mean, the other 29 teams. I really just pay attention to us. And I mean, shit, bring them up the Raptors. That'd be great. We need centers. But I don't know. Reggie's a weird player. Like, he's right on the edge of the G League and the NBA. There's flaws to his game, but there are some really good things he does also. I don't know. I don't know which team he should go to. I mean, I don't really want to help the other team to know about him either. But if he came up to our main roster, I don't know if it would work either. I don't know. Naco the Nacho saying the T-Wolves have a really good young center, Naz Reid, who they're probably not going to sign. If we're going to trade for someone, we should trade for him. That's an interesting player to get, Naco. Are you going to come by today? I'm not sure. 3 o'clock. If you're able to come by, Naco, you let me know. Just message me on Facebook. I don't know. Yeah, Naz Reid, I've seen him before. He's a pretty good forward, kind of a big, bulky guy. You can throw some weight around. Maybe. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Just tuning in, looking for a W. Yes, looking for another W. Today's a trap game, though, and I'm not happy about this game at all. We're in trouble. This is going to be a tough one. I want them to overcome it, go way above and beyond and achieve in this game because they're setting us to fail right now. I can already tell you that we have a ref hit job coming at us today because I've seen the ref crew and it's not nice. It's not nice. And we're in trouble. We're in trouble. The referees are not going to be our friends today. Not in New York, not with this crew that's coming in. Callie Mayer saying, good morning. Of course, I want our team to win. I think for my sanity, I have to change my mindset, though. Yeah, we've got to temper expectations and not hold ourselves to this highest excellence and feel failure when they don't get it. This is not a normal kind of Raptors year that we've had in the last 10 years. This is a year where we've got to take it as it comes and just try and make the best of it, no matter what happens. I mean, it may be ugly for the rest of the year, but it could be we get things together more and more, and we do have more wins than losses still. Got to be ready for either one, and we don't know for sure. Tom Duke saying 100%. Just embrace it, Callie, if you can. Yeah. Okay, I have candy in my van. I'm new here. You guys aren't that good. Well, listen, if you have candy in your van, you don't sound like a very safe person to be around. That sounds like a very dangerous situation, and I won't take that candy. We aren't that good right now. Yeah. But we still have time to figure some things out and maybe get some good things going. There's signs of life. And there is some really good things about our team. And I'm really all about fucking up the whole league by not making any trades, even though they want us to and people think we should. I don't think we will. For some reason, I really do feel like Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri are really going to be screwing things up for other people in the trade market because they're going to make everybody think OG's available and then they're not going to trade him. Watch. So there should be very interesting stuff that happens in the trade deadline around now. But thank you for Captain Obvious. Yes, we're not very good because of our record, but we are a very good organization and we will rise again. So don't count us out. And I ain't taking none of your candy. So you just stay in the van. Maybe drive to another block because we don't like you in this neighborhood. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Raymond Jacobs saying maybe with Fred, all these kids now, plus daddy duties piling up, maybe cutting into Fred's practice times or priorities. Maybe more kids now is hindering Freddie. No, it's not that because the division of labor in his family is very clear. His primary focus is the NBA and getting everything done with his career. That's important. His wife, his fiance, Shontai, she takes care of all the family stuff. Trust me. She tweets about it on Twitter and says that, yeah, these kids are driving me crazy and I'm taking care of them. So, no, that's not what it is, Raymond Jacob. In fact, we've seen evidence of this kind of stuff on Open Gym. They show the interaction of Fred with his children, and it's quite often daddy has to go because he's very busy. And I'm not going to buy into this. If anything, like I said, part of the reason why Fred VanVleet rose to the occasion against the Golden State Warriors in the finals in 2019 was Fred VanVleet Jr. had just been born during the Milwaukee series. And he changed night and day. Remember, he was horrible in the playoffs leading up to that point. But then when his son was born, boy, did it all change. He was on fire, and a big reason why Hubie Brown gave him an MVP vote in the finals. So yeah, this just remember history, and this is the pattern. The pattern is he doesn't shoot well while she's pregnant, and they're going through the late stage pregnancy part. And then when the baby finally comes, the stress release comes out, and then boom, he's feeling good because he has another child, and he just absolutely starts killing it. And that's fully what I expect to happen in the next month when this baby comes finally. That he's going to go crazy and he's going to feel so good. He's going to be like, I have another child. And he's just going to bomb all the threes, make everything, and everybody's going to shut up. Is what's going to happen. Yeah. Mike saying, salute Real Ones Project Truth always. Thank you, Mike. I watched your clip yesterday into the offense stuff. Really good stuff, Mike. Once again, thank you. I'm going to a doctor appointment at the moment, but I got a correction. January 15th is the last day to sign guys to two ways, not converting. Gonna go deep this next drop. Okay, he's talking about two ways and stuff. All right, cool. That's awesome. You go, Mike, and I hope your appointment goes okay. Tom Duke's saying just a blip, no big blow up will happen. Yeah, I don't think a big blow up will happen. You know, I've realized in something about the Raptors, honestly, that part of the reason why we're having struggles this year, it really is that Scottie is our spirit player. That Scottie is developing. Scottie is very young and raw. And in some ways, his identity as a player is rubbing off on the overall identity of the whole entire team. And as he gets more refined and more confident and have good things happening, well, we'll recapture that capability of having a good high standard of quality and winning all the time. It's just that in some ways, a baton was passed in this last year between Fred and Scott. And that Scottie being that guy is not totally smooth or like calm. It's very chaotic. And it's, in a lot of ways, he is the leader of our team on the underlying like level that we don't talk about. And in some ways, that's part of the reason why we're so erratic. We're making such weird mistakes that aren't used to in our culture, is because that leadership baton is in some ways getting passed on. And in some ways, I really think that Scottie, as the future leader of the Raptors, will be a very interesting leader. Because we've already seen him on the court be very, very like uptight about getting things right. There was that one shot in the playoffs last year where Matisse Thybulle made his only points when Precious and Scottie both hit the ball in by accident into their own goal. And we saw him yell at Precious. Well, I have a feeling, listen, that Scottie, as he gets more and more into that bigger role as the bigger leader on the team over time, that he may be a leader kind of like Michael Jordan, that he may be a leader like a very tough, hard-ass leader that expects the best out of his players that play around him. And I'm here for it. I want to have a hard-nosed leader like Jordan used to be. In some ways, he was abusive, but he had such a high standard to things that he really wanted things done in a certain way. And that's something that's happening right now with our team. Leadership is weird place with the Raptors. The leadership on the team is not totally settled. In some ways, like I said, this was Fred's team to inherit from Kyle, and he inherited it, and he was the captain last year. But things are evolving, and they're changing faster than we think. And that is part of the reason why there is a lot of unsettledness with our team. It's not like it was last year, is because there is a transition going on the down low. And that I really do think this has a lot to do with it. And as Scottie gets more used to being the leader, like in some ways, we're dealing with the sophomore 21-year-old captain of our team. And that is part of the reason why our team is so, and he's growing into it. He wasn't exactly putting up like captain, like leader kind of numbers, but he is more recently now. So I've thought about this a lot this weekend, and it really makes sense to me. That what is the big difference between last year and this year? Well, Fred was definitely the leader last year and definitely the one the ball went through and all this stuff. But this is changing. And part of it is because it's a very young guy that we're getting around now. So, yeah. All right. Philip Oliver Holes, who y'all think is getting traded? Well, I think it's Gary. That's just who all the signs point to that makes the most sense as far as his contract situation and different things that are going on. Now, I also think nobody will get traded too. But if anybody's going to get traded, it'll probably be Gary. And but I could also see us trying to figure out how to make this work with our salary cap and retaining him still. So don't hold your breath like the rest of the NBA for us to make a move, because that I'll tell you a little secret. I don't know if we will, and everybody might be real blue in the face in about a month from now. So Cool Cat saying Justin Champagny asked to be free. Hummer, he has the potential in the long run. Bummer, bummer. Yeah, well, he wanted to be free just because, he wasn't happy with this situation in Toronto because honestly, he really felt like he deserved to be on the main roster and play with the main Raptors all the time. And that him going back to 905 this season wasn't good for him. And in some ways, listen, we gave him a lot of chances. We gave him a year and a half. And a guy undrafted like him, that's actually a pretty long time to give a tryout. That's, we've given guys way less time to try out in the last year or so. And the one thing is like, look, he has potential, but you know what? He's in even lesser rung of the ladder in Miami now at this point. He was at least starting for our G League team, but he's not even starting for their G League team at this time. So he really does have to circle the wagons and just really try and batten down the hatches and just try and figure out what his career is going to be like. He has a good chance with the Miami organization because they probably could really use him. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with him. All right, let's see. I have Candy in my van saying, considering how the season has gone so far, if you guys get dismantled by the Knicks today, it is time to tank with Milwaukee and Boston next on the schedule. I mean, we'll have to see. Everybody's been saying, okay, if this happens on this day, then we have to do this. We have to do this. It's all bullshit, honestly, because we're this kind of weird team that can kind of just like how we play in games. We could be down by 15 or 20 in the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden we're only down by 2. Well, we could treat this season just like one of those games too. Count us out. See if we don't figure shit out and sneak into the playoffs somehow, some way. And then we're a first round opponent for a top seed that nobody wants to have. Trust me. So anything can go any way, and we're not going to tank. Trust me, we're not going to tank. They've already said they're not going to tank, and they're not. If we naturally end up with a high draft pick, it won't be because we're trying to go for victor, because we're not trying to lose that much. We're going to win as much as we can possible. It's the only thing in Masai Ujiri's DNA is to win. In fact, I watched an interview with Jake's Takes with the head of the Canadian Basketball Federation or whatever. He's in charge of Canada basketball. Michael Bartlett, I think is his name. And he said, when he talks to Masai, he said, there's one thing that's important about what you do with Canada basketball. He says, the only thing that matters is if you win. Because if you win, you'll make money. Just trust me on that. That's what Masai said to him. That's all he said. And it's like, when he said that, I was like, that is what Masai would say. So yeah, we're about winning, and there won't be any tanking outright. But if our talent and our level of play doesn't get us to wins, so be it. Then we'll take that kind of way of the season, but it won't be on purpose. We will be instilling the hardest effort and the most trying of all every single game, even if we don't win. Now, I won't say that today is just the exact fulcrum breaking point of anything. In some ways, I understand your point of view. But also, we're crazy. We could lose today to New York in New York. I hope not. I hope we win. And then come into Milwaukee and kick their ass tomorrow and absolutely kick the shit out of the Bucks. So I would, listen, anything's possible. We're taking it game to game, and we're not making any drastic decision just after one game on anything. We've already been like that so far for the last month. So there's no reason for that. Yeah, there won't be any tanking. Nameless saying, do you think there's a power struggle between Scottie and Fred potentially? They seem a little contrasting styles. I think part of the problem is, yes, that Fred has a little bit of a worry about Scottie coming into his part of his territory, what he does on this team, but it's just naturally going to happen. Honestly, Fred is he's a great player. He's gone so far as a undrafted player, but also, at the same time, the future is very clear. Scottie should be the leader of the team, and Scottie should be the guy in a lot of ways that is the figurehead, in charge, and hopefully maybe the captain down the road. I think he's got the right potential for it, and he'll be very good at it. But that transition is going to be awkward, and it's not going to be completely taken to Scottie all of a sudden. It's not going to be just like we wake up tomorrow as Scottie's team. They're going to kind of bleed over into each other, and that's part of what's awkward and janky about the Raptors right now. Now, this doesn't mean we need to get rid of either one of them or be mad at either one of them. This just means that this is the natural growing pains and the natural evolution of new leadership on this team. And that, there's stuff to be figured out and may be awkward, but I cannot say this enough. They love each other and they love playing with each other. You can see it on the court. You can see the way they celebrate each other. You know, that clip last week when they were at the hospital and Freddie put Scottie on blast on his Instagram, blocking those kids' shots. There's nothing but love there and admiration and respect. It's just that it's uncomfortable because, yes, in some ways there is a little bit, I wouldn't even call it a power struggle. It's just kind of sussing out who's going to be in charge of what, in what way, and how things are going to go. And I think the writing is on the wall that this is Scottie's team in the future. And that Fred, Fred's important and Fred should be on this team because he's so good in so many different ways. But we may need to figure this out like over time. This may be something they really need to think about, like as far as that. Let's see. Logical saying the Banton hasn't that Banton hasn't been passed. The baton. He said the Banton. It's baton. There's no first N. The baton hasn't been passed. Scottie is now leader in training. The way Fred VanVleet was leader in training at the moment with the bench mob and playing the Scottie role with Lowry, it's going to be 2 to 3 at least. Are you saying years? Mike, write it out. You're not clear. You wrote Banton instead of baton, and you said 2 to 3. I don't know what that means. You mean years, days, weeks, months? I'm pretty sure you mean years, though. Yeah, I agree with this. I mean, it's not totally just passed on to Scottie, but that is part of the weirdness with our team. It really is. And some people will be, hurry up, we'll just give it to Scottie. No, we got to do it the way we're supposed to, naturally. Leslie saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks. Good morning, Leslie and Hart, a great Raptor Freak. Nako saying, not saying it's going to happen, but one of these top seeded teams could give us an offer we can't refuse. Yeah, we have to see what the people are willing to do around the league with some of our attractive players. That's when a trade may happen, is when Masai and Bobby are like, oh, we can't say no to this deal because it's going to help us so much and it's exactly what we want. And boom, then something happens. But that's the only way it'll happen. We're not going to make a deal just because we're desperate or everybody in the league thinks we need to make a deal. We'll only make a deal because it's the right thing to do and it'll make us better. Yeah, because we're not desperate. We don't give a shit. We could just sit with our team and we'd be fine. Everybody else thinks we're desperate, but we're not. We're not. We're just exactly where we're at. Troy Henry's here. Good to see you, Troy. Glad you made it today. Clippers want Fred and Gary for a championship. We have so much talent. Why can't we put it together? I know I've seen this picture of Fred and Gary in a Clippers uniform this morning, and I'm like, that's intriguing. That's weird. Well, I'd have to see what they're sending us back. Once again, like, I don't like to speculate on trades too much. It's really, once it happens, then we deal with it and talk about the ramifications. But otherwise, we could talk every scenario blue in the face, and it's just all stupid. It's like, well, this could happen. This could happen. Yeah, the sky's falling. Pigs could fly. We could say all this shit. It doesn't matter. So we'll just wait, and we'll see what happens, and then we'll react to it. Randolph Phillips is here. Beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. I'm excited for the early game day. Our boys must bounce back strong. Let's go Raptors. Yes, it's MLK Day. It's a special day. We're the ones who get to play the Knicks in New York. And it says a lot right there that this is a special day, an important game, a 3:00 game. Yeah. And all right, let me just do it right now. Our ref crew for tonight is we got Scott Foster tonight. Yeah, we haven't had Scott Foster all year. I hate getting Scott Foster, first of all. He is a criminal. He is very much involved with Donaghy and his bullshit from before on betting the games. We know he is. We know he's crooked. We know he's probably the most crooked ref in the whole entire league. And in fact, he manipulates the game in weird ways, and I do not trust him at all. And the fact that Scott Foster is the head ref for this game against New York today is not good. That very much signifies a ref hit job to me. Whenever he's around, him or Ed Malloy, I have no trust in the referees at all. Those two are the two worst referees, in my opinion, in the league, Scott Foster and Ed Malloy. So let's take a look at Mr. Scott Foster's profile. He is in his 30th season as an NBA ref. He's from Silver Spring, Maryland. He still lives in Maryland. He went to the University of Maryland. He has officiated almost 2,000 games in the NBA. He has 2 years of refereeing the CBA and college basketball also. His favorite TV show is Shameless and also Ozark. His favorite movie is Braveheart. His favorite musician is Michael Franti and Spearhead. His favorite book is Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. His favorite app is PGA Tour Live. He'd most like to visit Italy. His hidden talent is body surfing. His bucket list is to win gold at the U.S. Open Pickleball Championship. So he plays pickleball too, just like Mark Davis. And his favorite meal is a Maryland blue crab and corn on the cob. So he has a very specific regional favorite food to where he's from. Maryland blue crab and corn on the cob. Scott Foster is one of the worst refs for us as an old-time ref. We win 44% of the time, and the Knicks win 43% of the time. So there's a little bit of an advantage for us there, but not much of one. But yeah, he's one of the top 10 worst refs for us in the league and one of the longest standing worst refs in the league for us. Scott Foster is the crew chief. I hate it. Second ref is JB DeRosa. This is his 7th season as a ref. He's from Kentucky. He lives in Canton, Ohio now. His favorite TV show is The Big Bang Theory. He likes the movie series, the Kingsman series. His favorite musician is Kenny Chesney. He'd most like to visit Joss Van Dyke in the British Virgin Isles. He wants to play golf at Pebble Beach. His hidden talent is cooking. He excelled in track and field in high school and college, and he enjoys playing golf and traveling with his wife. His favorite meal is salmon and risotto. So we got some blue crab from Maryland and some salmon and risotto so far for the refs. JB is the best ref for us today. I really like, if anybody's going to be nice to us today, it's going to be JB DeRosa. We win 55% of the time when he refs. We did lose the last game he refed this season, and the Knicks win 48% of the time. So it's a 55-48 split with JB DeRosa. He is the nicest ref today. The third ref is rookie ref Cheryl Flores. We've seen her once this season. We lost that game. Meanwhile, New York has seen her twice this season so far, and they won both the games that she refereed. Cheryl is from LA. She's in her first season, as I said. Her favorite TV show is Game of Thrones. Her favorite movie is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She likes James Blake to listen to for music. She bucket list is to learn how to play the piano. She most like to visit outer space. And her favorite meal is cherry pie. That's right. She's the one who wants the cherry pie. So, yeah, those are our refs. Like I said, Cheryl, we were 0-1. We have a 0 winning percentage with her. And meanwhile, the Knicks are 100%, 2-0 with her. So, yeah, we've lost the last 2 games with JB DeRosa and Cheryl Flores. We have not seen Scott Foster yet this season. And, yeah, Scott Foster. There you go. There's your ref crew check. Not very happy about this. Seriously, we're going to really have to watch Scott Foster today with his shenanigans and shady shit. Because he may be doing some shady shit today. We need to watch him. Yeah. So fuck Scott Foster, criminal. Criminal. He is a criminal. All right, let's see. Callie is saying, I think the hard thing is that we never know what kind of team will show up. They can play so good when they play together. Yeah, I mean, this is something that they talked about a lot this weekend in the practice interviews is inconsistency with effort and when they come to the game. And this is something that the players, it's on them in a lot of ways, that y'all need to come up for the game. I don't care if you have to tell yourself bullshit in your head, like they talk trash about your grandma or something like that. Just get an edge to yourself about wanting to beat the shit out of the other team. Because in some ways, y'all are coming too friendly, too nice, a little too docile. And then the difference between us and the Atlanta Hawks this weekend was they came to play. They came to win. They wanted to win the series against us, and we didn't. So that's what we got to think. We got to think this way when we come in. I know Siakam, you're a robot. You like to just do your routine, show up and do it, and everything will work out because you say you put in the work, the blessings will come. Yeah, but also you've got to kind of be a leader and kind of make everybody understand the importance of winning and winning night in, night out, and how much this is really, really important. You and Fred have to step up and be these leaders. Scottie, if you want to step up and start being a young leader on this team, talking about how important it is to win, then you do it too. But really, you guys can frame it in certain ways. Like this weekend was an easy game to do this for. It's like, look, we only played them 3 times this year. We both won 1 game. We need to win this game to win this season series. Not only that, it was really important for our placement in the play-in seeding. And now we've fallen out. Chicago's won another game, and we are completely out of the play-in once again. So there's got to be some sort of motivation before the game, some sort of pep talk, some sort of like do it for the Gipper kind of shit. And because I don't feel like you guys are coming in with like the gravity of winning these games and really trying your damnedest with the energy and the effort. And this is an easy one. It's MLK Day. It's Madison Square Garden. The last time we played them, they embarrassed us on our own court in Toronto. And we kicked their ass the last time we were in Madison Square Garden. So there's a lot of getting up for this game. It's a special game. It's the only game at that time. So a lot of people will be watching this game. And so there's all kinds of reasons to get up for this game, Raptors. Be aware of them and talk about them. You understand, you look foolish when you lose to a team that's on the second day of a back-to-back when you are arrested, and that you don't want to look bad in that kind of way. There's all kinds of things that you need to safeguard and understand that give you gumption and motivation to want to win as badly as possible. And I want y'all to tap into those lines of reasoning and logic and thinking so that you're even more motivated. Just do some Michael Jordan shit. Make some shit up. That man said something bad about my grandma's dress at church yesterday. Ooh, I'm going to go get him on the court now. Just make some shit up. It doesn't even have to be true. Half the shit that Michael made up wasn't true in his head for why he was wanting to kill the other players on the other team. Logical Raptors fanatic saying 2 to 3 years at least before Scottie takes over. This is Fred and Siakam's team still. Yeah. But do you understand what I'm saying, though, Mike, that it does seem like this is part of the reason why the leadership is a little shaky this year is because the baton is maybe being held on to by a couple different people, and it's not totally sure who's going to take that leadership on any given time because it could be up to anybody. It's kind of like what I said last year with the scoring load. It's like, okay, we have a lot of good, talented scorers on the team, but somebody's got to step up and take the mantle and really try and do the scoring. If nobody does it, the ball gets dropped on the floor and it's right in the middle. And in some ways, I'm worried that this is the way our leadership is going right now on the team, is that we need somebody to step up and be that. And in some ways, Fred, maybe because his role changed this season, he took a step back from even being the leader role too, besides not having the ball go through him. It's like that may be something on the download that happened, that our leadership is hurt because Fred is not stepping up and being that Lowry leader because he's off the ball now. I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm trying to figure this out because the problems are with leadership on our team. They really are. That we need leaders on this team to tell everybody how important these games are and that we need to play very, very well with the full effort. Nameless saying, I watched Fred VanVleet snap on Scottie on a missed assignment like I've never seen him do before. Flailed his arms like a tantrum, just saying. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of getting on to people for missed assignments. Now, Scottie, yeah, he goes crazy on people too, like, very expressive and very emotive. I have candy in my van. All right, let's see. I'm a runner sports fan because I don't like dealing with defeat. I'm literally changed jerseys during halftime. I actually found this channel by searching for Jurassic Park best kills. Cool. All right. I have candy in the van. However you found the channel and stuff like that. So you're a turncoat and you'll just change jerseys to fit whoever is the flavor of the day or the best team. I get that. There's a lot of people that can't stand losing. They have a very poor psyche to deal with it. And you just have to do this for therapeutic reasons. You have to stay with the winners. Because if you don't stay with the winners, you will die. That's all right. It's fine. Not all of us can be strong, loyal sports fans. Some of us do have to change our jerseys like our underwear. And you go ahead and do that. I won't judge you. You're not going to be a Raptor freak if you're not standing with just the Raptors. And that's what this channel is all about. But yeah, I appreciate you finding me. And hey, listen, if I'm getting traffic from Jurassic Park, that blockbuster movie series, hey, all right, winning. Yes. Forgetful saying, morning, folks. Hope your mom is doing well. Thanks, Forgetful. Lex, Warriors lost again. Time to fire Kerr and trade Curry. This is funny what Forgetful is doing here. He's showing the Western Conference version of us in some ways. The Warriors have been around 500. They are a little bit better than us at this point, but they're having a lot of similar problems that we've had this year. And yeah, he's saying now it's time to fire Kerr and trade Curry. He's just saying the examples of what they're saying about our team with Nick Nurse and Fred VanVleet. It's the same thing. And it sounds so stupid and silly going this way. Well, it still in some ways sounds very stupid and silly going towards us also. I talked to my mom yesterday and she sounded better. My brother said she does seem like she's a lot better. She stayed one more night at the hospital last night, but hopefully she's going home today. But thank you for caring, Forgetful. And hopefully I'll hear from them only good news today that she's on her way home and everything's all right. I'm lucky because she didn't have to have any stitches or sutures or anything to close her head because she fell on the back of her head and busted it open. But I think she's going to be all right. So hopefully. And the other thing is she has COVID, I found out too. So she's got COVID for the first time and she's dealing with falling on her head yesterday. It's just not good. All right, let's see. Cool Cat Sam Masai said it's not a championship team and he to be patient with development process. Fans ignore that with high expectation run. Laugh out loud. I'm enjoying the journey to our next chip. Yeah. Yeah, I mean this is true. Masai said temper expectations. We're in development. We're not in the final development stage of being in a championship team. So there's still stuff that's going to happen, like with moves, maybe a draft pick, different things that will help us get there. So yeah, be patient. Understand we have been able to win through development last year, and this year not so much. The lumps of the development stuff is happening in more negative ways this year, and we're not winning as much. It is what it is. Good morning to my brother Carl, and Carl, thank you again for being there for mom and dad and helping them out today with all the stuff that's going on with them. And hopefully she just goes home today. Tom Duke's got the plates out. He's got the crab for Scott Foster and the corn. And he's got a salmon and risotto, looks like. And then there's the pie. So he's got just straight up exactly what they wanted. Ref hit job reversal for such a great meal. Hopefully we'll see that there's none of that kind of stuff. Scott Foster, you want to show that maybe I'm calling you a criminal. I'm calling you somebody who gambled on games and got away with it and still in the league. Well, this show you that you're on the up and up as much as possible today. Maybe I'll change my opinion. If you can come out there and call the game down the line and not show any favoritism, any kind of bullshit, then maybe I will change my opinion about you. I don't know. Is that worth it to you that people don't see you as a criminal? Maybe you need to be just straight down the line, Scott Foster. I know your referee ratings are supposedly good, but you, at this point in 30 years into your career, you know how to game the system to look good with the ref ratings and still do a ref hit job. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen today. We'll have to see. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam. Game is at 3 p.m. today. Hope the boys bring the energy. Go Raptors. That's right, Fiercely Salsera. Always good to see your name in the chat. I appreciate you. Canadian Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Let's go. Ta-da. If you need some help around the house, Tada can come and help you. They're in the phone book. They paint, they clean windows, they carpet clean. They do all kinds of great stuff to help you out at your house, especially if you're someone who has a hard time doing stuff around the house. These guys are handy, and they can come by and check it out and help you out. Tada, it's in the phone book. Cool Cat saying, I just need us to make the playoffs for Scottie, Coloco, Precious, and their development. Yeah, I'm with you on this. I'm totally with you on this. I remember last year, this is something that we were very important about making the playoffs was getting Scottie playoff experience. And we want him to get more. So in some ways, I don't care about getting Victor Wembanyama. I don't care about tanking or any of that kind of stuff. I want our team to get some playoff taste, even if it's a first round exit, even if it's just whatever. I just want Scottie Barnes to be able to say in his career that he made the playoffs every single year he was in the NBA. And we want that to happen. So we don't want to miss the playoffs this season just to get a draft pick. We want Scottie to have that prestige. And we are going to build and get better and better. Leslie's saying it's Pascal's team. Fred is in trouble. See, I don't know if Pascal's that kind of leader, though. That's the problem. In some ways, I want him to be, but I just don't think it's in his cards. He's stepped up and he's more vocal this year, and he is definitely doing leadership kind of stuff, but it's not in his nature. In some ways, we really do need like a Lowry that's very hard ass and very accountable and maybe kind of an asshole. And Fred's too nice. I think in some ways, Fred is very much very no rock the boat kind of guy. Whereas Kyle would not be afraid to get in people's faces and kind of tell them, yeah, you're fucking up. You need to do better. And that's part of the problem right now is there's an accountability problem on our team. And that we need leadership to make people accountable and hold them accountable. Nick Nurse is a player's coach, and in some ways, he's not very good at this as a coach. And in some ways, you need a guy like Lowry that's a hard ass and an asshole that's going to just say, look, you need to do this. So I wish Pascal was more that kind of leader, but he really is more of a leader with his play on the court and leading with points and stats than like a vocal leader or a leader that's a hard ass. He's more likely to be very easygoing and not really kind of making tough conversations with people. And I feel like that's what's going on with this team, is that this is the problem. We need to have some more tough conversations with people, and it can't just be Nick Nurse doing stuff like that. It's got to be a player on the team that's really holding everybody to a certain level of excellence. And I don't think that's what's happening right now. It's too bad. Monique saying Nick Nurse wasn't having it in practice interview yesterday at one point. Yeah, he told them to step the fuck back. He said, you're a little too close to me right here. I don't like this. You step the fuck back. And then every single question about consistency pissed him off. He's like, can we talk about something else? Can you ask me a different kind of question? I've answered this. I've talked about this over and over again. I've answered your question. You're asking the same damn question 4 or 5 different times in a row. And I ain't having this. So just stop asking that question. He did. He got fed up. And he got really mad at one point. And I like that. I like that he's a little pissed off. And I like that he told him to give him some space. I still keep thinking Aaron Rose is too close to him, sidelining up to him, next to him. Give this man a perimeter. This is still the age of pandemics and shit going on around. And, people are still getting COVID. Don't be getting all up on Nick Nurse. I don't want you to get your sick germs or anybody around him. So you give him a little barrier. Let's put him in a little plexiglass like box and keep him away from you guys, like a hockey penalty box. He'll talk through the little hole, and you can answer all the questions. Stick the little microphone through the hole, and that's it. Y'all can't touch him or come near him. He needs a perimeter. Yeah, stay back. Get back. Get back. You're too close, is what he was saying. I love that. I love that. You go, Nick Nurse, and you tell that press to get the fuck back. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And yes, rest in peace, David Onley. Not only just a great broadcaster for many, many years on City TV. We saw him on the news and different places. Just a very, very visible person with a disability doing amazing, amazing things and having an amazing life, doing so much to give back to the community in broadcasting and in politics. And it is sad that he's passed. And he is very much a big, huge advocate for the disabled and was doing so many good, important things, not only as an example, but just in all kinds of different aspects around Toronto. So yeah, rest in peace, David Onley. And I was sad to hear of this news this weekend. It's very, very sad to hear it. Seymour Pape saying, wishing for the best for you and your family, health, wealth. Let's go Raptors and freaks, freakettes. We're champions. Thank you, Seymour Pape. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I think things are going to be okay. I did talk to her, and she seemed like she's doing okay, my mom. So I'm happy about that. Basketball Rewind's here. Good to see you. We'll be missing this game because of school. Tough one, but this is it. The Raptors can't lose 2 in a row, so they can't lose it's time. Yeah, we were talking about this weekend. Van Hoot is very much saying they can't lose more than 1 game at a time. They can't do 2-game losing streaks. There's really got to be bounce back and forth. I have good faith in some ways. Like I said, I'm painting a bad picture with the refs. And in some ways, I'm really worried because the Knicks are playing at a high level and there's different things. Now, one of the things I think we need to do to beat the Knicks today is we absolutely have to win the rebound battle. I'm sick of this shit, Raptors. Y'all were like one of the best rebounding teams in the league last year, and you're letting all these teams that we played recently win the rebounding battle. Well, this is the battle that we win a lot of games on. So y'all need to beat Randall and Robinson to the rebounds today. You can't let these guys both get double-digit rebounds. And if they're getting double-digit rebounds, you guys need to be getting some double-digit rebounds. Scottie, Precious, Chris Boucher, Pascal, all you guys, just out-rebound the Knicks today. You do that, you'll win. The other thing you got to do better than them is turnovers. If we do not turn the ball over more than them and they turn the ball over a lot, we can win this game. So these are my 2 big keys to a victory for the Raptors. Out-rebound the hell out of the Knicks and cause more turnovers for them. We just got to win these 2 battles. These are the easiest way for us to beat them, is to do those 2 things, out-rebound them and just win the turnover battle. Those are my 2 big keys. Of course, 3-point shooting, beating them at that's important too. But those 2 in particular are the ones that really are Achilles' heels in some ways that we need to exploit and hopefully can win. Because like I said, when's the last time the Raptors just outright won a rebounding battle in a game recently? We have not been winning the rebounds a lot recently. And we need to win the rebounds. Seymour saying, should we target Crowder? I mean, I'm not totally against this. Some other people have said, no, we don't get him because he's been like spoiled, acting like weird with Phoenix. What we would do here, maybe he's the good guy. Maybe he realized that the Phoenix Suns organization is full of a bunch of sick, gross people. like their own owner that had to get booted out. And he was like, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm better than this because this organization is toxic. So that, he could be that he didn't want to be around Monty Williams fighting with DeAndre Ayton. So he's just like, what's the point? So he's holding himself out. I'm okay with getting Crowder. I think he would help in some ways, but in some ways he's very similar to players that we already have. And that I don't know if he's not a true center. So in some ways we really need the true center, and he's not really a different look than things that we already have. So in some ways maybe it's not smart to get him because it's just getting more of what we already got. And we need something a little bit different, and that's maybe a true center that's vet. Jimmy's saying something is definitely off with the team. Yeah, I think it's just like a leadership void, kind of like leadership needs to step up is basically what it is. And they need to really make the guys understand as a team how important all this is. I mean, they can say it and there's lip service and they say all the right things in the interviews. Pascal's saying, oh yeah, we don't like to lose. We don't want to lose. We want to win. Yeah, you can say all that, but there's another whole level to like really not wanting to lose and really wanting to win. And old Raptors teams from past years recently have had this. But this year, you guys don't seem like you totally have it this year. There's something weird about y'all. Just like what Jimmy Pope is saying, something's definitely off. Denal saying Nick holds people accountable, just not the main guys. Fred yells at people, but it isn't the same way Kyle did. When with Kyle, it came across with love. Freddie, it comes off different. Yeah, I don't know if I could get into that, like as far as like whether it comes off different. I'm sure Kyle was much more of an asshole, seriously, because he could say some things that are really, really mean with a really nice smile. Trust me. He's like that. He could tell you the most cruelest thing and he'd be smiling and it may look like he's being really nice, but he's not. I don't know. I won't make that differential on that. But I think that Fred does need to be more of an asshole. And I think he does need to yell at people more. But in some ways, he doesn't feel like he can because he's slumping himself. That's part of the problem. Like if Fred was playing really, really good, he could throw his weight around a little bit more and get more done. But in some ways, he can't talk right now. So it's in some ways, whoever is throwing their weight around and playing really well, they need to be that guy. Whether it's in the last game with Scottie or in a lot of nights it's Pascal. But like I said, is it in Pascal's personality to be that hard ass? And like, I don't know. The leadership stuff is, I really do feel like it's a leadership place. And it's not necessarily anybody's fault. It's just that we've got to suss out how the leadership structure is in this situation with getting people ready and up and really taking things as seriously as possible. Because Kyle did a lot of this shit for us over the years when he was here. He really was that guy who would like remind everybody before the game, like, this is where we're at with the standings. This is where we're at with the season series with this team. This is our house. We need to we need to protect our house. We need to do this. And he'd really get the gumption up and make them feel like it's much more important than how these guys are treating the games right now. That they don't, I don't know if they feel like these games are as important right now. It's what it feels like. That Atlanta game, they did not treat as being very important. And that was a big mistake. Losing makes people and things look worse, in my opinion. Kyle didn't always come off with love. I know people remember the more recent winning years with Kyle, but it was not all love all the time. Yeah, the earlier stuff in the beginning was tough. The beginning of the 2010s, early stuff with DeMar and Kyle, there was growing pains, some of the similar stuff that we're going to right now. So this is just part of the pattern of new leadership coming up on NBA teams and the pitfalls and the ride of going up and down with figuring it all out. So let's see. Troy saying, haha, it was funny when Nick said you guys make it hard to breathe here. I know. He's like, get the fuck off of me, Josh Lewenberg. You just step back. Fucking Doug Smith. Fucking, you smell. Leslie's saying, should we bring Kyle back? He wants to retire as a Raptor anyway. Coach Lowry, laugh out loud. I would be okay with that. Yeah, I mean, listen, as long as the price is right, we don't want to handcuff our salary cap or do something crazy just to bring him back for a feel good, like retirement hangout. It's much more likely he's just going to sign for one day and retire as a Raptor that way. Then he's going to get a contract and play like more of a season or anything. But in some ways, what I'm saying right now, it sounds like he could help us with this, but it's really, really got to be something that fits with the whole big piece of the puzzle. And I don't know, this is the other thing with Kyle, it is about the money. And, I don't think he would take less money just to come back here, just to feel good and play here. He's probably going to want to be paid the way he's supposed to be paid if he's going to bother even play. So I don't think it's very likely because we don't want to overpay for him at this point. And I don't know if he'd give us a really good discount and make it a fair price if it's worth his while to continue to play in the NBA for a certain amount of money that we may want to pay him for smaller roles. So who knows? I may be completely wrong and he will do it, but I bet you that I'm not. I bet you that it is very much that he's going to need a certain amount of money to continue to play in the NBA because it's hard work and he wants to be compensated. So Callie's saying Kyle cared about his teammates first to take rookies around town. Fred is just different, not as personable. In some ways, Fred is, yeah, not as personable and not as sociable. In some ways, it's partly because of who he had to be to get to where he is. He's a little bit more like claw, tooth and nail, every little inch, every little bit that he got. And in some ways, he's a little bit more competitive because of that. I don't want to read too much into the character profiles of these guys as leaders, too much like we are doing today. But I just want to say that, like, look, Fred's got that leadership in him and he can get it again. I think that he's just very distracted. He's had so much going on that he's not able to fill that role like he did last year. Because, like I said, in some ways, he's not playing good enough to really stand up and be that guy that says that stuff. And until he starts playing better and then he can like walk the walk with the talk, then maybe things will get better. So in some ways, we got to wait for this baby to come. It's like the baby's holding everything up. The baby comes, he starts shooting better, then he can be a leader again and be like talking shit and telling everybody what to do because he can't right now because he got 3 points in the last game and shot 1 for 9 or something. So it's just like, yeah, he can't really be that leader and say, like, throw the weight around because he's not playing well enough himself. Let's see. G saying Kyle was more funny and a joker in interviews. Fred is more serious. So maybe that's the difference. Yeah. Yeah. Fred is very serious. And Fred is benevolent. He does love his teammates. But in some ways, he is a very, like I said, it's not that he's selfish. It's just that in his stature and who he is, he had to be a certain way to get to where he is in this league at this point. And in some ways, that is just a part of who he is, to be who he is at his height and the stuff he does. So it's tough. It's a tough thing. Cool Cat saying Thad tried to do that with Scottie, and we saw the back and forth interaction. Pascal leads by example. And speaks up when needed. You see how he spoke to Malachi after the wasted end of the clock play. Yeah, he didn't like how he threw it to Koloko instead of him. That was the wrong play. Like, seriously, why are we making Koloko take a half court almost 3-pointer at the end of the clock? You should have found Pascal and let him shoot that shot. And that's what he was telling him. He's like, why didn't you throw it to me? You don't need to throw it to Christian. He's not the right guy to throw it in that situation. He was right. And that's good. That did show leadership by Pascal and kind of like correcting. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see. Denal saying exactly, Callie. Okay, Kyle didn't start like that, but when the culture changed is when he did change his approach, and we see how it worked. Yeah, he was a toxic player in the NBA for a long time, and he cleaned up his toxicity and became a very good leader. In fact, he used some of those qualities about him that were toxic and turned them into like bonuses, like positive things. And that's really good that he went through that change. I don't know if Fred's that kind of like going to need to change or anything because I don't think what Fred's like is toxic. I just think that he has a totally different style. And in some ways, maybe he's not as engaged. Like he's engaged as far as like he wants to practice way more than Kyle did. Kyle was like not into practicing. And he would like, as a leader, he kind of hurt the Raptors because we didn't practice as much because of Kyle not being into it. Well, Fred said when he became the leader after Kyle left that summer that he's all about practicing. So they're practicing way more and doing way more stuff in that way. But there's trade-offs. Maybe that's the good thing about Fred's leadership is that they get more practice time. They work harder in some ways. But then the personality kind of stuff isn't the same as Kyle. And that's part of the trade-off, maybe. Let's see. Fun guy saying, yes, sir. Not going to be mad at either result today. A win is great because I want to beat the Knicks, but a loss suffices because also tank. Yes, tank. We can have that conversation now. Yeah, I mean, I still don't like the word, and I still want to try and win out no matter what. But yeah, I mean, listen, we got to be this way. Come on, guys. It's like we can't be like we've been the last few years with the Raptors other than Tampa season and just expect excellence and number one and being the badasses, being a top Eastern Conference team because we're not that at this point. But there's still ability to do that and be really good for the rest of this year, but not necessarily be in the stratosphere of the Eastern Conference because we're going to be middling because we got to make up stuff. So listen, I just want us to try and win. Masai Ujiri's philosophy is just win, just win, just win is really still in effect. But like I've said, sometimes your team isn't good enough to win. It's not playing well enough. The talent isn't good enough on a given night because of injuries. There's all kinds of different reasons. It just doesn't add up and you lose. And that may be a little bit of what's happening with us this year. But yeah, I'm glad that you're taking it as a no lose scenario. We're gonna win either way, even if we win or lose the game today. For real is saying, isn't that what the Pensair dude was saying before anyone? Give credit where credit is due. Saying what? What do you mean? What was he saying? You mean as far as the leadership stuff I was talking about? Well, I'm going about it in a different way than him. He's saying all is either him or me kind of thing with Scottie and Freddie, and I don't believe that. I believe they can coexist and make it happen. I understand the situation as being kind of like a part of the reason why things are so weird with our leadership is because there is a little bit of a changing of the guard on the down low. And I mean, look at this. This is anybody could say this. The Raptors tonight, people could say it. I won't give credit to Pensair. In fact, I would say that he's made it worse because he's made it a versus thing, and it's not a versus thing. This is very much you can have a smooth transition of power without having all this other bullshit and like dragging Fred through the mud and all that kind of stuff. So no, I won't give him any credit. And everybody can come to the same conclusion about things. And maybe if he said that before or earlier, that's not, I didn't get it from him because I don't watch his shit. I just got it from just looking at things in some ways and thinking about the leadership issues. But yeah, I won't give him any credit for this. And he's still fucking wrong for putting it Fred versus Scottie because I don't look at it as Fred versus Scottie. I just say that there's leadership issues and we need to figure it out. And that's all. And I think that in some ways, this Fred is like, look, I understand you want him to be the ball handler and the ball go through him. Well, he should be the leader in some ways, is what he's probably thinking. And in some ways, that's not smart, Fred. You need to step up and still do the leadership stuff, even if you're off ball, because you are the de facto like vet that should be the cap. You're the captain. You're the leader. You got to be that. So you got to step up and do it, even if you're not playing well. In fact, you may have to start saying that is, look, I know I'm not playing well. I may not be able to talk shit about what's going on, but we need to do better, guys. We need to do better. G saying, I like both Kyle and Fred. Both they're different. Kyle was interesting when it came to practice. Yeah, he didn't want to practice most of the time. He did not want to practice. And he kind of hindered Nick Nurse's ability to get the team to come to practice in some ways. G saying, no, Pensair said Fred leaked the Masai and Scottie interview and they don't like each other. Very different conversation. That guy does not like Fred and has fought with Fred's family. Different motive. Yeah. That's kind of what I was just saying as far as G saying. And we got to get that jar out. Troy Henry saying, I am always up for whatever involving Kyle as a Raptor. I mean, listen, I'm not going to be upset if he ended up playing for us again. That'd be fantastic. But I think realistically, because of money and the way I just described it, it's probably just going to be a one-day contract and he's going to retire as a Raptor that way. Jimmy's saying, I expect a sharper team today. You know, it was a tough practice yesterday. Yeah, especially if Nick was that feisty with the reporters afterwards. Yeah, they were probably having a really go at it tough practice. And hopefully it shows well. And you're right. They're much sharper today. You know, Madison Square Garden doesn't hurt either. In some ways, we play better on the in Madison Square Garden than other road places. And then also, New York doesn't play as well at home for some reason in Madison Square Garden also. But they're on a winning streak. And like I said, they played pretty good last night. I mean, Julius Randle, 42 points, 15 rebounds, 15 and 24 shooting. So Julius is still playing like crazy. 27 points for Jalen Brunson. 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a plus 20 for him. He was their best player on the court in some ways with the plus 20. RJ Barrett only 13 points, but, you know, chipping in there and quickly off the bench, 17 points. That's tough. But, yeah, they took care of the Pistons pretty good there in the game in Detroit yesterday. So Monique saying, thoughts on T-Mac opening up more recently on the Raptors. If you saw the interview, I did not see that interview yet. He has a more recent interview talking about playing for us. All right, I'll have to go look at it. I have not seen any T-Mac stuff recently. Forgetful saying, old man's word of advice, there's no going back. The arrow of time only in one direction, knows one direction. Yeah, in some ways that's true. That is really true. It's like in some ways you don't want to revisit the past. And I'm kind of with him on this. I mean, I love Kyle and he will retire with us, but I don't think he's going to play with us again. All right, let's see. I have Candy in my van is saying, I was probably the biggest Raptor fan in 2019, though. Hopefully, you guys can get back to winning so I can dust off my Raptors Chris Humphries jersey. Ah, okay. Well, I appreciate you jumping on our bandwagon in 2019. You know, you're an interesting character. I have Candy in my van. I am going to allow you to be around, even though you may be a little bit of a troll. You didn't do anything too egregious as far as like talking shit or anything. So it's all right. You can hang out for at least for comedy for right now. But just realize that we do kick people out of this channel for being a little bit too like negative on the Raptors. But you're fine. You're not saying anything too crazy right now. I'm a fun guy saying no one should hate Fred for who he is. That's a very bad trait. Hate the player if you will. Fred is a good person, guys. But anyways, wouldn't be surprised if we win without Fred tonight. Yeah, that maybe actually we need to talk about this. If Fred's questionable, his back's stiffened up, he's not playing today. This could be very interesting. Like, what do we do with the starting lineup? Does this mean that Precious gets to start tonight in his place, and then we have like Scottie, Gary, Pascal, OG, and Precious starting, or will Koloko start instead? Or what will it be somebody else like Malachi? Maybe Malachi starts in the place of Fred. It could be very interesting to see. And it also will shift who gets to play. Like this may mean if Fred's not playing, that means somebody else from the bench is going to get to play. And Jeff Dowden Jr. wasn't in South Dakota yesterday. He was supposed to be with the 905, but he did not play in the 905 game. So he's with the main roster in New York. So Jeff Dowden may be getting extra minutes because Fred's out. So this could be very interesting to see today. What happens if Fred is not playing today, and who gets the minutes and who starts, stuff like that. So it should be very interesting. I agree with this. It's like nobody should hate Fred. Fred is a great Raptor. He's done amazing things. So people forget. This is the thing that pisses me off the most about the Fred hate is they don't remember all the great things he's done for our team, the esteem, the prestige, the things, the winning he's brought to us. They have such short memories. They don't remember who Fred is. And that seriously, and to my mind, he is one of the top 5 greatest Raptors of all time. It may not be in a lot of y'all's minds, but in my mind, he is because first of all, he's a G League champion. He's an NBA champion. He's our franchise leader in single game scoring. He has all kinds of different accolades that are fantastic and better than a lot of people that played in a Raptors jersey. So put respect on his name first before you come and slander him and talk all the shit about him, because in some ways he's made in our franchise history, much like a Kyle Lowry, a DeMar DeRozan, Vince Carter. He is a made man in our history, and respect him while we still have him on our team. Seriously, respect him, please. Carlos JS is here. Finally, refreshing discussion. Other places in YouTube are toxic as fuck. Yes, Carlos, I'm glad you found me here. This is the Positive Raptors channel. We ain't taking this bullshit. These motherfuckers want to come in and talk shit about our players and just be bad and stuff. No, what is the ultimate goal about being a Raptor fan? We want us to win more championships. And a lot of these fans are not helping things. They're actually making things even worse by making our fan nation very toxic and just saying out of pocket, stupid ass shit. That's not helpful towards going towards more NBA champions for the Raptors. That's what we're all about, Carlos. And I'm glad you're here. And I hope you'll come more often every single morning, 9:30 a.m. We're talking Raptors in a positive way and just trying to build from our perspective that we want to fucking win. We don't give a shit. It's us against them. It's Toronto versus everybody, just like the shirt. And we really take that seriously. And listen, if they wear a Raptors jersey, we support them. We don't tear them down. We don't come after them because we love our team. And even if they're failing and they're not playing well, we support them unconditionally. We want to win, and we will win. I know we will under the guidance of team president Masai Ujiri. It will happen again. But yeah, I'm glad you found us. And yeah, the rest of the world around Raptors Nation is really in trouble. There's so much crazy toxic bullshit being said all over the place. And we're not having it here. In fact, we are the stands that fight against it in the chats, in the different places around. Raptors Tonight live stream. You will see the Raptor freaks in there fighting with anybody who's getting negative or going after Fred and stuff like that. That's right. I appreciate you, Carlos, being here every morning, 9:30 a.m. You can count on me being here. I will be here talking Raptors. All right, let's keep going. Cool Cat saying on every team, the number one option does not take on the everyday team stuff, focused on production and lead by example. He learned from Kawhi about intense focus. Fred VanVleet's job is everyday dynamics. Yeah, because in some ways it's too much. Like, sure, you'll have some leaders that are both the leading scorer and like the captain and leader. Like Michael Jordan was really kind of like that. But in some ways, Pascal really should just be focusing on being the scorer, and that there should be like a team captain kind of leader like Fred that's kind of in charge. Now, I think that Mike is right when he's saying it's a 2 to 3 year window before it transitions to being Scottie's team completely. But in some ways, that there is going to be, it's not even a power struggle. It's just going to be kind of ambiguous that leadership roles may get filled in by different people in different ways. I really like the idea of Scott being the leader in the future, though. And that Fred is a great leader. And I think that he can still have a place and leadership next to Scottie. So it's like everybody says there's either or. That's very limited thinking. And that you need to be more thinking in an abundance mindset of saying, why can't both coexist and have their leadership styles next to each other and find out how they work well together more and more? Yeah. And Kawhi is not that kind of leader. Kyle had to have Kyle's leadership next to Kawhi's on the court leadership, because Kawhi wasn't going to step up and do the stuff that Kyle was going to do with saying stuff behind the scenes and stuff. So in some ways, it's very similar. Monique saying, "Welcome, Carlos, coming from Raptor Show, YouTube positive here. Let's go." That's right. That's right. Thank you, Carlos. Raptor Show or whatever, you're coming from, Carlos JS, 100% welcome to an educated discussion that attempts to stay positive. Go Raptors. Carlos is saying, man, even on the Raptor Show chat, everybody's jumping off a cliff. Yeah, Will Lou and Alex Wong, I love those guys so much. They're great. But yeah, listen, Will Lou can be very negative when we're losing. He has been very down on the Raptors and talked a lot of shit about them. And I mean, I know people get frustrated. People, in some ways, well, who are we? We're fans. We're fans of the team. We are spectators. We have no control over this. So in some ways, you got to absolve yourself of misery in situations where you cannot control this fully. That you are destined to be a miserable fuck if you put the hands of your happiness and the keys to your happiness in the hands of other people. And we can't do this. The Raptors are having a struggling year, so there's no point in doing this. And some people that are younger get so emotionally tied into whether they're winning or losing that they get crazy about it, and they can get depressed and say all kinds of stuff. I feel like we'll lose like that to a degree. Like he can get depressed and like a little angry and upset about the Raptors and them not doing well. I think it was funny. Savannah Hamilton was watching the game next to Will Lou in the press box this weekend, and she said it was very entertaining to watch the game sitting with him, the way he reacts, and it gets crazy in there. And I understand that mentality. I want them to win too, William. But in some ways, you got to take a step back and just allow breathing room, much like Nick Nurse needed from the reporters. Just allow yourself some breathing room from the Raptors, and whether they're winning or losing, and have a little bit of your life separated and emotionally, so that you're not just riding that wave of ooh up and down. You'll get real bipolar real quick if your emotions are completely tied into whether the Raptors are winning or losing. You'll be needing to go see the therapist with the way this season's going. But yeah, I can't disagree with them in some ways, because it's a very disappointing year. I expected a lot better things to happen this season, but also at the same time, it's like in life, sometimes things just don't go the way you planned, and you have to adjust. And you have to make the best of the situation. And that's really what we're trying to do here, is make the best of this situation no matter what. We win, that's great. That's what we wanted to do. We lose, okay, let's see what happens with draft picks and possibilities in the offseason. So we'll see. Either way, I just love and appreciate, this is the moment where you have to practice gratitude and just be grateful that we have a team that we root for here in Toronto in the NBA. That we have a team that we get to watch today at 3:00 in the Mecca Madison Square Garden playing against the Knicks, hopefully kicking their ass. Pascal Siakam throwing some big points down just like he did last month. Ooh, that would be real nice. So gratitude about just having a team and also a championship and winning and being a winning franchise overall. That's where we start. We practice gratitude when we feel sorry for ourselves or we feel like, the world sucks. The Raptors keep losing. So just practice some gratitude and everything will turn around real quick in your life. You look at the things that you're grateful for and they will accumulate. You look at the things you're not grateful for and they will accumulate. Which one do you want? You want the good stuff or the bad stuff? It's your choice every day. It's just how you want to look at it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, see, we don't just talk about the Raptors. We're doing some therapy here too, also. All right, Eric Jacob is here. My good friend Eric Jacob in Zimbabwe. He's over in Africa, y'all. Fred does everything right. Interviews are great, leadership great, ball handling, playmaking, and defense just fine. Just has to stop shooting threes for now. Yeah. Until he gets that shooting stroke back, until that baby comes. Fred, when that baby comes, he green light on shooting those threes again. Woo! But I love what Eric's saying. He's standing up for Fred. He's talking about all the great things that he does, and I agree. I don't want y'all to think that I'm being overly critical of Fred. I'm just pointing out that this does seem like this is one of the problems with the team is getting leadership from a team player, not the coach, and getting the gravity of how important each game is to get up and be completely prepared for the game from the start and come in like professionals and be like, yeah, we're going to meet their energy and ultimately basketball is a competitive sport between two teams and the team that plays the hardest and plays the best wins. And you have to think that way, Raptors. You have to be like, we have to be the best team on the court today. Pascal Siakam's got to be like, I have to be the best player on the court today. Fred's got to be, I got to be the best leader on the court today. Scottie's going to be like, I got to be the best big man on the court today. That's what they got to really think. And like, think about their counterpart. Like I said, on the other side, Pascal, you got to beat Julius Randle for the points. Scottie, you got to beat Mitchell Robinson or whoever your equivalent is on the other side. Figure out who your equivalent is and make sure your stats are better than them by the end of the game. And then we will win. We need to win a lot of battles. There's like 7, 8, 9, 10 battles with your rotation all the way through the bench. Who gets in? Those battles all have to be won. Backup point guards. Who wins that? Backup center. Who wins that? OG versus RJ Barrett. Who wins that? That's what I'm saying. It's a matchup-oriented sport where you have to outplay, out-hustle, outwork the person against you, and then you'll win, Raptors. And I think y'all need to remember that because it didn't happen on Saturday. The Hawks got good contributions from their bench guys. They did little things to help. And we had some bench guys, Precious and Chris, step up big, and then Scottie, but then the rest of everybody else, nothing. You guys were not shooting well and not showing up enough. A couple guys did, and a couple guys did not at all. And that's a big problem. Tom Duke saying that Raptors show is the worst on YouTube. Same 4 or 5 idiots spewing their hate. The Raptors show is that Will Lose show, isn't it? No, that's not a bad show. That's a good show. I love that show. I don't know which one you guys are talking about. Leslie saying we don't tank. That is not our culture. Exactly. Leslie Hart with the heart saying it's like that's not in our heart. Tanking? No, dog. That's not what we do. No, we ain't got nothing to do with no Aaron Baines. No, we don't. Denal saying very true at Forgetful. My take is this new generation doesn't, for the most part, respond well to Fred's approach to leadership. He's not a bad leader, but younger kids may need a different approach. That could be part of it. There could be a little bit of a generational difference. And I know there's a clip out where Fred's kind of talking about Gen Z. They're talking about like who's this and this, who's like who has the best music or taste or something. I don't know. It was like all these questions they were asking all the Raptors. And in the clip, there's something that Fred kind of said about young people and stuff. And I mean, I can get it. There's a little bit of a generational divide, even between like Fred, who's in his late 20s, and Scottie, who's like a 21-year-old and stuff. I don't know. This has all got to be worked out and just figured out. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Let's see. Troy Henry saying, I have candy in my van. That name doesn't sit right to me, though. No, it's obvious that this guy is a very creepy person. They have candy in the van, and they're trying to lure people into the van. That's not a good Good look. Carlos is saying people are very quick to forget on what Fred VanVleet has done for this team. This situation is becoming to look worse than the Pascal hate before. And look at like how Pascal pulled through. I know. This is what I'm saying. It's like people don't understand. They forget the past and the good accomplishments and the things that Fred's done for our team. And while he's just down, they want to kick him. And yeah, a lot of this is very similar to the Pascal hate a couple years ago after the bubble. And we all see what happened with him. So that's what I'm saying. Hold tight, Raptors fans. If you're a real one, just hold your tongue, even if you want to say something about Fred. Just give him a chance. He is deserves the ability from us to like give him time and patience to turn it around. Still, there's still almost a whole half of the season. And if that baby comes, I'm telling y'all, something's going to change with him after that baby is delivered. That he's going to start shooting way better. If it's anything like Fred VanVleet Jr., he's going to be shooting the lights out once the baby is delivered. So, Fiercey saying it's always good to get these reminders of how Fred contributed to the Raptors culture. Respect. Yes. Yes. Listen, we wouldn't have a championship probably without Fred VanVleet being involved. We wouldn't have a lot of different things about our team at this point. So, that's one thing that people are too short-sighted about. And I appreciate everybody respecting and talking about it today with me. Cowboys saying, I hope Nurse starts Scottie, OG, Spicy Pete, Precious, and Coloco. So you want Gary off the bench. We need to play bully ball today. Let's go, Raptors. That's a big lineup. That is a very big lineup. In fact, that's similar to that big lineup that we played at the end of the game the other night, except Coloco is in for Boucher. Yeah, I don't know. I like Gary starting just because there's all kinds of good reasons for Gary to start still. But that's not a bad lineup, Cowboy. I don't know if that's likely though. Cool Cat saying, hope all continue to go well with your family, Lex. Thank you, Cool Cat. Yeah, my mom's just been in the hospital this weekend. She fell and hit her head, and I think she's gonna be okay. Hopefully, she'll go back to the hospital, go back home from the hospital today. Denal saying, wish we played Weiskamp. I know we were trying to win games, but as a fan, if we sign someone, even a 10-day, I'd love to see what they can bring to our roster. Agreed, Troy. Facts at the Fred hate. Yeah, I really do want to see Joe Weiskamp. He needs to get a shot, at least a tryout. And Nick has not used him yet. We did see him on the 905 level, and he played great. He shot really, really good in one 905 game down there. And maybe there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes in practice with Joe Weiskamp showing up. In fact, I was attributing some of the better shooting last week to his presence just coming in. That sometimes just having a really good, confident shooter in practice can rub off on guys, even if he doesn't even play in the game. So hopefully his confidence shooting rubs off on our guys, and they're all shooting way better with him around. But yeah, he needs to get a chance, Nick, because his 10-day run out and you guys may not even use him, and then he's gone. I feel like he could be somebody worthwhile trying to take a look at. So who knows? Maybe we'll see him today. That would be nice. Maybe he's the one who gets minutes if Fred is not playing today. So we'll have to see. Jimmy's saying 5-game win streak. Ooh. I wish we'd won the game on Saturday. Then we could have been going for a 5-game win streak today. It's too bad. But yeah, the Knicks are on a win streak again when we're playing them. This will be the third time in a row that we've played the Knicks while they're on a win streak. They're on a 3-game win streak right now, and we need to beat them. We need to end this win streak, unlike we didn't the last time we played them. We did end their win streak from before, though, which was really long, which was fantastic. So streak busters can be in effect today. Let's break that New York win streak of 3 that they're currently on right now. I like that. Let's see. Leslie's saying Scottie is 21 years old. Let's give him time to develop. Can we all think about our 21-year-old self? I know, seriously. And after spending the summer with Scottie on Twitch, he really is a young man, and he's got a lot of great, mature things about him. But he's still a kid in a lot of ways too. And we have to remember that. And I don't know. I don't know how this whole thing that I described today with the leadership and stuff like that is going to all pan out, or how it's going to go over time. But I'll bet you Scottie down the road will be our guy down the road. It may not be that soon. And I think Mike's right. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 years. They're now saying, I love that take it to da bully ball. Yeah, let's get some bully ball going on. Let's really bully them. I know Mitchell Robinson can be a handful in some ways for us. But Scott, man, you poofed your hair out big on Saturday. You look bigger. And go after Mitchell today. Like really, really beat him. I want you to take it to him and score over him. And then also just out rebound him and just like don't let him get on the boards on offense. Like we need to box him out. That's a really big thing is to box out him and Randall. And hopefully we can, like I said, win the rebounding battle today. That's really important. Carlos saying definitely 100%. You can't win all the time. And we know this team and organization has pulled through time and time again. That's right. I mean, Tampa year was tough. It was a really dark time, but we made the best out of it. And in some ways, we showed that we're a surviving kind of franchise. Getting relocated for a whole entire season, that would have destroyed a lesser franchise than ours. If there was been other franchises in this league had to go through the year that we had with Tampa, it would have really fucked them up. Trust me. And the fact that we did it so professionally and weathered that storm so well is a real testament to how great our franchise is and how it's set up. So tough times build character. And that's what we're doing right now. We're building some character because of our tough times right now, for sure. Monique saying some fans thought Jeff Doughton was injured because he didn't play for the 905 yesterday. Laugh out loud, but he's with us. I think this is what it was, Monique, is that the Fred news yesterday about his back and him being questionable came out in the middle of the afternoon. And it could very well be that Jeff's in South Dakota, but they realized as soon as Fred may not be available for depth for the main roster, they sent him to New York. So he didn't play in the 905 game but originally he did get sent to South Dakota when everybody was healthy. But now with Fred questionable, I'm sure they sent him straight to Madison Square Garden and he'll be in New York today just to have extra depth. And that would make very much sense. And that would be the reason why maybe they thought he would play there, but he didn't, because he probably got right on a plane and flew to New York once they heard that Fred was questionable. Let's see. Denal saying that's a great take, Alexi. I agree. If I'm the point guard, then I need to score more than theirs. Small forwards score more than theirs. We'll win if we win all our assignments. Good way to look at it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that just makes sense. This is a way you play one-on-one against somebody on the court. You want to beat them. That's very simply that. Well, you want to beat your counterpart. And this used to be more important in the NBA, and they used to talk about it way more. They had like the Pacers versus the Bulls, and it'd be Michael versus Reggie. And Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan would go into these scoring battles, and it really was kind of like a main event battle within the whole war of the game. Is like Reggie versus Michael, and who's going to score more points? And they would build them. They would build that up as a big matchup. The NBA used to market it totally that way. Superstar versus superstar. It's not as much that way anymore. You don't really say it's like, oh, it's Luka versus this person as much. The way they orient their marketing these days. But in some ways, this is really a good principle to accumulate to winning is take your counterpart across from you and make sure you're beating them statistically. And it's not even necessarily outscoring them. You could beat them just by outplaying them in general, like by getting to loose balls more than them, getting more rebounds, getting steals. You can still beat them without even outscoring them. So it's just looking at the matchup and saying, all right, do I feel like I'm beating the guy on the other side that is kind of my counterpart? And really thinking about that because it'll all add up. And then boom, hopefully you've won. Let's see. I have Candy in my van saying, why didn't Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter work out in Toronto? From stuff I was reading, it says Raptor fans were part of the reason why. Okay. Part of the reason why is because at that point in time in the NBA, there wasn't any getting superstars together. It was very much you have a franchise player, and they really look at it as like you have one really good guy. And they saw that McGrady is going to be really good. And part of this is the NBA's bullshit came around and said all this bullshit that fucked things up. In fact, he got bad advice. Tracy was told by people in his circle, his personal circle, that he would never be able to get to the heights in the NBA if he was in Vince's shadow in Toronto. And that there wasn't this whole idea that you could have like three superstars on one team at this time. It was very much, like I said, it was a one superstar kind of league team. And so it was not enough room for him there. And that's why he went to Orlando, is because people in his confidence circle, people that were close to him, told him, yeah, you need to leave so you can be not in Vince's shadow. And that was really why. And it was bad advice. Because within 10 years, super teams started getting built, like in Boston with Garnett and Pierce and Ray Allen, and then with Miami with Bosh and LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Well, that whole model didn't exist at that time in early 2000s. And that's why Tracy went down there. It has nothing to do with the fans. That's bullshit. It had to do with people in his circle, like Uncle Dennis with Kawhi, talking out of their ass and making him not believe that. Well, he realized that they were wrong, and that if he had stayed in Toronto, he may have had a better chance to win a championship at that time, and really tried to stick with things with his cousin Vince. And that he regrets that at this point. But no, it wasn't the fans. It was somebody in his circle and just general NBA chatter trying to say that he could never be his full potential in the shadow of Vince Carter. And that was it. It was so stupid. It was so dumb. When I met Tracy, I knew he was leaving. But it was like, listen, he was so young, and like in some ways we dropped the ball with his development because we had really bad coaches around him in his very early years on the Raptors. Butch Carter, Darrell Walker, that kind of stuff was not good for him early on. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? Cool Cat saying start Koloko or Precious at center, Scottie at point guard. Yeah. Yeah, I like them going bigger. I don't think Malachi's played well enough to warrant starting today. And I'd rather them go big and have like Scottie and Gary in the backcourt with OG and Pascal and Precious. I'd like to see Precious start. As much as I like Koloko, I don't think he should start because it's like we need to establish certain things. If it's not Precious, I would say Kem Birch, but he's not playing Kem Birch at all. So I don't understand why. But Precious would be my choice to, he's played so well recently. They want to give him a lot more minutes. Well, we're missing one of our starters. He should step into the starter minutes that are missing. Yeah. Carlos is saying, what do you guys think of why Nick Nurse strategies isn't working anymore? Is it personnel problem or Nurse being inflexible sometimes? You know what? Honestly, I thought I was worried about Nick Nurse being inflexible earlier this season, but he's adjusting and he's listening. He's actually listening to. He might even be listening to this channel. I don't know because I've suggested things and then mysteriously they start happening like within a week of that happening. So I don't know. I think he's not inflexible. We can't label him like Dwayne Casey when he was our coach. He was very inflexible in certain ways, but I don't think Nick's like this. I think that really it's a perfect storm of the injury with Pascal and Dallas started everything like in a bad direction. We just started missing so many guys all at once and really lost everything during that beginning of the season where we're trying to find our identity and figure out roles. We had to scramble, and we're doing that now. We're basically doing now what we should have been doing in November because of all the injuries. So we're starting behind everybody else who's gotten. Atlanta is a good example. They have more time accrued in figuring things out and understanding what they're doing than we do. Just because we were missing Precious, we missing OG for this time, missed Fred for time, Scottie. We've missed everybody at some point, really. So it's really a lot of that. It's not that his strategies don't work anymore. They do a lot of times. It's just that there's a combination of having injuries. There's a combination of trying to figure out effort and consistency. Then the leadership stuff that I was talking about today. There's a couple of different little problems around the team that aren't allowing the team to play at their optimal level. And when we figure them more out, then we'll be fine. This is actually a really good team. It's just that we've had stumbling blocks and things to overcome that have held us back for most of the season. Randolph saying, Alex, I pray healing over your mom. I'm believing for full recovery from all the afflictions that have come against her. Blessings. Thank you, Randolph. Yeah, I hope that she beats COVID pretty quick. It's like, 3 years in, she finally got it now. She's not gotten COVID until this week. It's crazy. I really do appreciate that, Randolph, and always blessings to your family as well. Cowboys saying, I'm just saying we got to play like our team's name as a pack. Smart, fast, vicious, and precise, and put fear into them and don't stop. Let's go, Raptors. That's right. Connectivity, being on the same page, working together as a team, working in tandem with each other and moving around in the right ways and communicating not only on defense, of course, but also on offense. I feel like if you guys communicate on offense a little bit more, you'll find more of that great side-to-side action Scottie talks about, the pick and rolls, the give and goes, the backdoor cuts, just looking for each other to find easier baskets instead of working so hard to try and score by yourself, Pascal. Look for these other guys, and it'll work way better. And we saw it last week, and hopefully we can see it again today in New York. All right, let's keep going. Leslie's saying, I speculated that Fred's wife was pregnant 2 months ago because he hasn't been himself. I hope his son arrives after. I hope Fred arrives after his baby arrives. 2019 to 2023. Yeah, you were one of the first people that noticed that Shontai was looking a little more round around her midsection, and I was like, I don't want to be rude and just speculate that this person's pregnant without knowing for sure. Well, more and more reality. You could tell she's definitely pregnant because of how rounded her belly was. And then Fred let the cat out of the bag last Wednesday at the hospital, saying when they were visiting all the sick kids in the hospital, he said, "Yeah, I have my third child on the way." And yeah, he said it. So it's for real. And once this happens, it's going to change things. Hopefully, he'll have no cares or worries in the world, and he'll be like, "My kid is here, woo!" And I feel like cloud nine. You get that high as a dad, and boom, he just starts killing it. He's just making everything. Cool Cat saying Fred VanVleet is an old soul. He's 28 going on 40. This is true. That's part of it, is that he is very much an old school, old soul kind of person. And in some ways, he's mistrusting because he's been shat on. He's had a lot of hard luck. He's had bad things happen to him. So in some ways, he's very much like a very like tough dog that's kind of like, I will fight you if you try and take my bone or anything like that, because he's had to have that mentality to get to where he is in his life. Carlos saying, yeah, perfect shitstorm. Prayers for your mom, Alex. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, a lot of it was just a lot of things happening all at once. And the Pascal thing was really huge because he was cooking when he started the season. And if we had not missed Pascal for that bit of time, and then Precious was a huge one too. That the amount of time that Precious was out for was way long. And that really, really hurt us as far as with our bench, especially. We see how bad our bench was without Precious and how much it's better with him around. All right, let me do what's next on the show, the real mascot matchup. So last time we saw the Raptor, he's in the woods and the Hornets were chasing him, but the rain started, so they went away. And then he heard over above him the cry of a hawk. And he knows it's above him, but there's trees in the way, and he doesn't know where it is. And he's trying to get ready for it because he knows this hawk might strike and attack him. This is a hawk that's attacked him before, I think. And he's trying to find out where it is, but he can't tell. There's too much foliage, and he cannot see it above him. Well, that hawk is dive bombing. You can hear it. I don't want to do the whistle right now. You know what I mean? That noise. And it's coming right at him. And bam, it's right on the back of his neck, in his back. Right, and digging in the back. I watched a Discovery documentary yesterday on birds like eagles and hawks and how they can just like, they will jump on like a groundhog or any kind of rodent, and they will crush their skull basically with their claws. They can just do that. So just imagine that kind of pressure on the back of the raptor's neck, digging right on in. And oh man, he might be dead. In fact, the hawk, he falls to the ground, and the hawk's just digging in the back, and he looks like he might be dead. And the hawk leaves. He doesn't even try and eat him or anything. It's just like he was vindictive and spiteful, and he's like, I'm just gonna fuck this guy up. And he just tears him up. Now he's laying on the ground. And once again, in the woods, bleeding. He has a bunch of nicks in the back of his back, just like he did when the buck tore him up in the back. Well, now he's been tore up by the hawk, and he's laying on the ground in the woods with a bunch of bleeding nicks, bleeding out of his back. Will he be able to figure this out? He's got to remember the herb remedy that the Trailblazer brought to him and like healed his wounds with. Can he find that plant nearby him to try and heal the nicks in his back from that hawk tearing him up? I don't know. We'll find out next time on the Real Mascot Matchup. Will the Raptor be able to find the healing herbal remedy, the weeds or whatever the guy used to help him before, on himself, to help himself before he bleeds to death in the floor of the forest because of that attack? Oh my gosh, there you go. Yeah, it's grim. This is like life or death situation for the Raptors these days. This story very much embodies what's happening with them in real life. That's right. Seymour saying, from an undrafted player, he has accomplished more than those who were more fortunate in the draft time is ticking. I think he has hit his top peak. Yeah, that's part of it too. And we got to be fair. Like, look, Fred, you have a certain career arc. And in some ways, your injuries may start to betray you and hurt you for your full potential and what you can do down the road. And we may have to temper these kind of things with things. I know you want to make as much money and play as long as you can, but we have to be realistic about the quality of play and what you're doing at different times. And that's the thing. I love Fred. I'll stand by him and I'll speak up for him, but I'm also realistic and I want the Raptors to win. I want them to be the best possible team that they can be. And I think him being around as a role player and a leader and somebody like that will always be valuable. It's just that his role may be changing once again. And in some ways, there's a career arc to certain things with things. And I don't know where he's at with what's going on and what's going to happen with his injuries going forward. And we need to be realistic and smart about that. Monique's saying, W Stream Lex, let's go Raptors. Always keep at it. I love, like, there's 10 or 12 Raptors there. I love that. Keep playing the bench well. Nurse, great to see as well. Yeah, keep the rotations up. I think you've done a good thing with your minutes allocation at this point. Even if you win or lose, Nick, we will not, if you don't overplay the starters, and nobody's going over 40 minutes, and their numbers start to drop so that they're not in the top 5 of minutes leaders in the whole NBA, this will be a good sign. We want to continue to go in this direction because the dividing it up equally all around has been so much better and fruitful than overplaying your starters for so many different ways. So keep doing that, please, at least. Top saying Fred is a bit of a politician in his interviews. To say he's struggled so much because he's playing off ball just sounds like excuse. There has been a pattern of him being injured after losses. Yeah, I mean, I understand. And I'm going to stand up for him. I didn't like in that JJ Redick him blaming the off-ball role because I feel like he's just missing shots, and that's just the pure truth of it. Like, Fred, you can spin it any way you want, but you're missing open shots. And somebody pointed out this weekend that he's leading the league in worst field goal percentage now, and like players that play a lot in the league. Like, he has one of the worst field goal percentages overall in the league. Well, I really think he has some pride. He's going to change that. And once again, as I said, this baby comes. Let's see what happens after that. So Carlos saying, yeah, I love what I'm seeing recently with minutes and giving Malachi and the bench unit a chance. Yeah. I mean, giving them a chance is, whoa, look, Precious, Chris Boucher, Juancho, Coloco, Malachi. I just like to see other guys get a chance at times too. Like, I really do want to see Jeff Doughton and Joe Weiskamp. And I still don't understand why Kem Birch doesn't play more. I think that he's just a really good player, and it pisses me off how he's not being used at all right now. And Thad Young's another person that's very useful in situations in ways too. So I'd like to see different people get into the rotation at different times and stuff. Cowboys saying the Raptors have to play like it's Game 6, and we're down by 20 in the fourth quarter every game. Let's go Raptors. Yeah, they can't start shitty. They got to come out and really hit them first. Because when we're behind, we don't play better. Like, we don't play well when we're behind. We play way better when we're on top and we're holding a lead, obviously, from recently. All right, let me just do a real quick recap before we get to 2 hours. The injuries for today, no injuries for the Knicks. They have absolutely perfect, healthy squad right now. Otto Porter Jr. is out, of course, for the Raptors. And Fred is questionable with lower back stiffness. So it could be that Fred is not playing tonight. I think it's probably likely he isn't. And because the game's at 3:00, so we'll have to monitor the Twitter pretty closely in different places to find out for sure what's going on with Fred and who the starting lineup will be otherwise if he isn't playing. The referees today are not good. I don't like this ref crew at all. Scott Foster is reffing his first game for the Raptors this season. We know Scott Foster is nefarious. His connection to Donaghy and the scandal from before. He has these problems with Chris Paul. There's all kinds of issues with Scott Foster that we don't like. Now, statistically, he does favor us over the Knicks, but still, I don't trust this. This is Martin Luther King Day. It's New York City. It's the Knicks. It's national television. It's Scott Foster. Just hear what I just said, okay, and understand that. Second referee, JB DeRosa, maybe the most friendly of the three refs for us, the second ref. And the third ref is rookie ref Cheryl Flores, who's only refereed one game for the Raptors ever, and we lost that game. Meanwhile, she's refereed 2 games for the Knicks, and they've won both those games. So there's your ref crew, basically right there. Yeah, play Chem now. Hashtag play Chem now. I love it, Monique. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me for this preview this morning. Raptors win the rebounding battle. Get less turnovers than them. Force more turnovers on them. And, of course, guard the three-point line well. but also make your three-pointers yourself. Really making the open shots, the biggest way you can improve and get better all around is just being consistent with your jump shots that are open and making them. Because this has been a huge problem for us this year and really not shooting good field goals for most part. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I appreciate you being here today, Carlos, and I hope you'll join us again. Everybody have a great Monday. And this game's coming up real quick. It'll be on in about 3 hours. So y'all be ready for the Raptors at New York Knicks, 3 o'clock today. Happy MLK Day and respect and love to Martin Luther King Jr. And remember what this day is about in celebrating humanity and equality and freedom, and just thinking about like everybody should be loving one another and together and not dividing each other. All right, y'all. Thanks again. And let's go Raptors. We got to beat New York because just like these guys said today, we're going to be searching for answers, and there's going to be way more tank talk and all kinds of other bullshit if we don't win today. This is an important one, Raptors. Take this very seriously. Do you not want any of your friends to get traded off this team? Well, y'all need to win. If you win games, it'll shut all this trade talk up because we're playing good and they'll want to keep everybody together. So in some ways, play for yourselves. Play for yourselves to stay together. And fuck you, CJ McCollum, for making up some bullshit. I don't even care if it's true or not. You're a union rep and you are a leadership person in the NBA, and you shouldn't be talking about other teams like that in a podcast. It's just a bad look. You shouldn't be doing that. Tom Duke's got the Go Raptors and peace and love. Carlos saying, thanks, Alex. Going to be here more often. What a breath of fresh air. You got it, Carlos. We have all kinds of fun here. In fact, I have a puppet. I don't know where he is right now. I think he's scampering around somewhere, Justin Bieber. But yeah, Street Busters. Street Busters. That's right. Let's go get it in New York City. We came here to do 2 things. Come here and chew gum and kick some ass. We're all out of gum, baby. Let's go get those Knicks. Yeah. Yeah.